So, it's Tuesday and the conversation is all about business and entrepreneurship, and I love it here. Rebecca is in the studio, so it's Festus. Good morning, Festus.
Good morning.
It's been such a minute. You've been so away from these conversations.
It has. And I'm very happy to be back. I miss you guys too.
Yesterday we spoke to somebody who speaks more like you. Did you realize that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I should meet
like,
them.
He's West African as well. Yeah.
Rebecca, good morning.
Morning, Jesse. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I love this made in Rwanda look on you.
Thank you.
This is the designer.
This is given
Lee
made in
Charms.
India.
Lee Charms.
Charms.
Lee Charms is something else. Like everything
Is
is.
it
really
Charm
good.
by Lee Charm?
Is it Charm by Lee? Lee Charm.
I call him Lee Charms, but it's probably Charms by Lee.
Okay.
Charms by Lee.
Yeah, I think that's his handle.
He has a magical touch.
He really does. Yeah.
He does. So today,
Festus, have you thought of getting a design as well?
I should.
You should go to Lee Charms.
Lee Cham. Free marketing for Lee Cham.
He's been here though.
He has?
yeah, we've had a conversation
He's
with
supposed to
him.
dress up Jesse.
Hey, there you go.
He's still taking his time, so.
I should reach out
He's so
then.
busy in this wedding season.
Mhm.
Even me, it's hard for me to get my stuff. It's too busy. So don't order more stuff from him yet.
Until
Wait
you have
until
your
wedding
stuff.
season is over.
until you have all your things.
Yeah, exactly.
Today on the show, we would want to talk Africa's luxury, which is no longer just a dream. It's happening right now in the fashion industry. When you talk about jewelry, design studios across the continent. In Rwanda, we have what we call Made in Rwanda program, which has helped create high-profile brands. I think we've heard of Motions, House of Tile, and many others, mixing traditional styles with bold new looks. You've heard about Inzuki Designs. They're famous for jewelry and accessories made by local artisans. But now here's the question which I'd like us to look into. When you think Africa luxury, when you think Rwanda luxury, are these brands, as they aim for fashion capitals like Paris, New York, Milan, question is, can they compete with the global luxury labels without losing what makes them special? I mean, when we look at what you're wearing today, and you say it's made in Rwanda, and then Festus says it's giving India, you think there's a bit of something that is lost along the way. As when I look at the first T-shirt, I think that I saw from House of Tile, it was a sports T-shirt.
Is that the jersey
The
that
jersey,
everyone is
yes.
wearing?
Yeah, and then later on, it looked like it got lost and lost a bit of the Rwandanness because it wants to cross borders. Would want to capture some of your thoughts on that. Today, we talk about the chances, the challenges, and the future of Africa's luxury with a spotlight on some of the rising stars. That's why we've been able to mention here Lee Charm in the morning. So Rebecca would help us with that conversation. But let's start with the question. I don't know who's going to help me on this one. When you hear luxury brand, what is the first name or image that pops into your head? Festus.
You see, when I hear luxury, and like many people, we think Gucci. And we can decide to answer this practically and honestly, right? We think Gucci,
Not Louis Vuitton.
we think Louis Vuitton, we think GNB, Dior,
Gabbana.
and the rest,
D&G as well.
right?
Dolce and Gabbana.
Yeah. And that's not because Africa lacks luxury or authenticity. It's because of perception. It's because of longevity. It's because of bold marketing. And these guys have been in the space for a while, and they have dominated the space, and they have exclusively described or help us understand or channel our minds to what luxury should look like, right? And I think that is why when people think luxury, or if I have a budget, I will not immediately think Rwanda. or I will not immediately think Africa. Because when I put on Louis Vuitton, right, and I put on Motions, people don't come around and say, "Oh my God, that's exclusive." On the I get some of my made in Rwanda from FNY, right? If I put on FNY, people don't come around and say, "Oh my God, that's super amazing." Once in a while, people do. But if even if it's not all that, as far as it has the logo or the brand, Louis Vuitton or GNB and whatnot, right? People are like, they're like, yeah, this is classy, right? This is, amazing. This is wonderful. This is expensive. It's exclusive because of the story those brands have been able to tell over the years, right? And so I feel that there is a lot of, like you were saying, the different brands you've called out. There's a lot of potential and there's a lot of penetration in terms of luxury and brand luxury from the African perspective or the Rwandan perspective. But I feel that we have not told our stories boldly enough yet for us to be the names that come to mind when luxury is talked about.
Is it not telling the story boldly enough, or is there a story, or maybe the story is not complete yet to be told?
Could be.
Is there a story anyway?
I think there is a story, right? Because you see, when somebody crafts a bead, right, with their hands, or some women in Musanze craft the bead on your necklace, there is a story behind it, right? When somebody weave a fabric, right? Let's say a group of blind people somewhere in Rusizi weave a fabric. There's a story behind it. But the question is, are we selling the story behind those crafts or those items, or are we selling style, right? Because when it comes to luxury, it's about style, it's about the culture, it's about the story, right? So we have been able to be pushed towards the style and the exclusiveness, right? What if we want to sell on the same platform or on the same level as what those other brands are selling? I think we would find ourselves adapting or grappling behind them. We need to find the authenticity of what makes African luxury and then sell that until I can boldly put it on a red carpet. And people will be like, wow, this is exclusive. I don't think we would. I don't want to sound negative, but I don't want to say. I think we can try to be optimistic and say, oh, we are there. We have competitive brands and all. We do, but if we weigh it still as a matter of perception, we've not yet turned the perception around to say this is as equally worthy to be put on in style and class as this. I think that's what I'm saying.
Who validates these African brands? Is it when they are on the streets in New York, Paris, or is it possible to have these brands validated within Africa, within Kigali, luxury brands?
It should be validated here first, before there, because when it's validated over there, it's more like, oh, this is African. It's less of this is an exclusive, amazing style. It's more like I when I put it on, I want to feel African. Right? But when I put on Louis Vuitton, I'm not trying to feel European. I'm trying to feel the style because that is what has been communicated. So when we think about African brand, are we trying to sell Africa or we're trying to sell a style? Are we trying to sell the style and the culture together? Right? Or we're just trying to say, hey, we too can put it on the table and we too can compete. I think it's the perception has not yet changed. There is a journey. There is a lot of progress. People are now putting on African brands and feeling proud and going beyond. That's my African sister. To that's an amazing style, right? Like when I saw her style, I was thinking less Africa. I was mesmerized when she said,
You were mesmerized?
Yeah, I was mesmerized when she said, because I would not see this and have Africa in mind in the first glance.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anybody would, because there is already, so maybe if it's a kente, right? If it's what is the other thing called? Kitenge,
Yeah.
right? Automatically it spells Africa. And there is authenticity that has moved with the Kitenge, with the Ghanaian styles, oh Jesus, I've forgotten those names. But dashiki, right? There was a time dashiki was all over the place. Everybody was putting on a dashiki, right? But over time, it's dwindled down.
I see Rebecca looking at you like this.
Yeah, she's like she wants to punch
I
me.
don't know what you're talking about. But Rebecca, how often do you hear of African brands when you hear the word luxury?
So I think, first of all, we need to figure out what is luxury really. For me, luxury is an experience, right? It's more than just the item. It is the quality of the products that are being used. It's the way that the person who is selling me the items are talking about it. It's the story, like you talked about. It's the packaging, it's the bag in which it comes. It is, if I come home and I find that there's a small tear in it, how do they manage that situation? Are they going to come to my house and pick it up and be, I'm so sorry, and bring me a new one? Or do I have to put in a lot of hassle to get this, replaced? And I think what is very often forgotten in the whole, because so many people are like, oh, I want to sell premium products, or I want to sell something that's very expensive and exclusive, but you have no idea what the people that you're selling these things to, the people who can afford this, you have no idea what they want. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, we can't just look at what do I want to sell, we have to look at what do the people want to buy. And if you can't offer the full experience, then you're not going to have a luxury item. But then we're also going to talk about at what price range, because honestly, luxury is also very much about pricing, right? Pricing is incredibly psychological. And there are people who want luxury products who will not buy something if it's too cheap. And it's very counterintuitive in terms of how most of us think. It's like, I don't want to buy something if it's too expensive. But when it comes to the luxury market, you have to not price yourself cheaply. And if you're the kind of person who cannot hold expensive pricing and who's going to try and reduce the cost here and here and there just to make it cheaper so that you think someone will buy it, then you're targeting the wrong market. You have to really understand what the luxury buyer wants to have. And even then there's levels to it, right? A Gucci bag might be $2,000 maybe, I don't know. Birkin, a whole lot more than that, right? Some people who buy Birkin bags, they don't want to be seen with Gucci. And you're talking about how you want to see, the brand, right? A lot of people who are high level, ultra high net worth people, they would never wear something with another person's brand on it, even if it is Gucci, even if it is Louis Vuitton. It's like, I'm going to wear the items that don't have any brand, but people who know, they know, right? So it's also about what are we looking at when we're talking about luxury? What are we looking at when we're talking about premium? And I absolutely see, I think Motions actually did a really, really good case study for a very long time with what he was doing. And you could also see he went from having this very classy look that had like an African kind of style, right? Not gitenge everywhere, but there was like a sense of some Africanness to it. Yeah. He got celebrities to wear it. The president was wearing it. Everybody wanted a Motions shirt, or everybody wanted Motions items. And it definitely had brand value, right? A lot of brand value. And then when he went to Italy to go to fashion school, when he came back, the style changed quite a lot, I would say. It went from being this very classy kind of clean look to being a little bit more rugged, right? It needed to stand out more. And then he got his stuff into, international runways. Right? We saw him traveling around and doing runways all over the world. And I think it's definitely possible if you understand what you're doing. But you have to understand who you're selling to, what do people want, what is the kind of look that they're going for, how can you stand out while still having an authentic expression. And until we start having those conversations, it becomes less about, is it African, but it's more like, how can we do it in a way that caters to the market?
Are we, when we are trying to do that, when we say luxury, is it geographic? Is it continental? Can I say it's luxury in Africa but not luxury outside of Africa?
Absolutely.
Really?
What does
of course.
Luxury,
Honestly, and it's not even about outside of Africa, but can you find a community in which this would not be considered luxury? No matter where you go in the world, no matter, as I said, Gucci can be considered not luxury to some people because they find
in Rwanda.
Not in Rwanda. Probably not in Rwanda. But the thing is also what we have to consider in Rwanda is that the purchasing power is still relatively low, right? You don't have a lot of people who can afford buying bags that are $2,000, $10,000, $100,000. So if you want to create a brand that has those pricing, you need to be able to cater to an international market, and you need to be able to cater to the people that come here. And even then, are you able to sustain a business if you sell 2 bags per year?
Interesting.
This question I would rather ask Juliana, but I'll make sure that everyone participates on the question.
Juliana,
If you had unlimited shopping vouchers, right? Would you spend it on a Rwandan designer, or would you catch a flight, fly straight to Paris? I want you to be honest on this, to buy whatever you call
not everything,
your kind of product.
Not everything nice comes from Paris, really, I must say. There are lots of good designers in Rwanda, and I'm so African kind of girl that would wear a lot of African things on me. So I would actually, spend my voucher on Rwandan designers. I would get a few
Unlimited.
I would get a few perfumes from Paris. But in terms of dressing up, I would definitely go to what's his name? Lee. I would go to Motions. I would go to another designer that I saw actually in Rwanda that I forget her name. She does really good work. So I would do that. I would do more Rwandan.
Festus, if you had these unlimited vouchers, would you spend your money on local African products?
Before I answer, I want to ask Juliana a question. When you put on, do you put on for luxury or you put on for style?
I put on for style.
That makes a difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so now answer.
You can't get out of it.
However, when it comes to perfume, it has to be a typical designer nice perfume. Yeah.
So that clears it out. I mean, I think that luxury is not Kigali versus Paris or Milan. It's class, experience, like she was saying, and also excellence. And I would possibly fly out
with your vouchers to go and spend it.
But I think I would distribute it. I'll possibly fly out.
Would you pass one to me?
I would possibly fly out for some, for some items, because I have tried, like she's saying, I've tried a couple of scents, African scents, like perfume and whatnot. I mean, it's coming there, but I still have not found a touch that I would say like CK or like Aqua D, Giorgio Armani, those are very distinct.
I like your taste.
Scents, right?
Giorgio Armani.
Yeah, I as much as I would want to, it has not yet appealed to me. The African luxury scent has not yet appealed to me to that level. But I think that I do a lot of African as well. I'm looking to push as much as I can within the African market, but I think I would go for excellence, right? And some of those excellence, I have not yet seen it.
We could also expand our scope and go into the hospitality sector. There's hotels, destinations. There's some really pricey hotels.
Yeah, one and only.
In Rwanda. There's a hotel I've been to at Mantis.
Yeah.
They have a story to what they do. The soap in there has no name of a manufacturer, but they use a soap that has been made by locals around the area. I think even their toothbrush is a wooden toothbrush.
Is wooden.
Is it eco-friendly?
Yeah, because they say it's an eco-friendly hotel. Let me just talk to Rebecca. You're the kind that looks like you'd go on a red carpet. If you were to go on a red carpet, what local brand would you proudly wear?
So I have gone on a red carpet, and I did wear a local designer. I mean, he was Burundian, honestly. But still.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still local.
Still, it was, he was here, right? I had him create me a dress here. A lot of what I wear is created here by local designers. And I went to a conference at some point in Puerto Rico, and there was a lot of like high-level entrepreneurs. And I came with my full motions kit, right? Every single day of the conference, I would be wearing a new motions style.
That's good.
You know, and I would be walking around and I felt really special, you know, whereas everyone else seemed to kind of look like they were wearing blazers or, you know, just pencil skirts and such. I stood out because I was wearing something that was different. And it wasn't because it was screaming African design, but it had those umushanana effects.
Reduce the nas.
Rebecca, it's Omshanana.
Nana.
But is Omshana local fabric? No, it's not.
But it's a
It's
traditional.
Style,
Yeah,
the
it's a
draping.
style.
It's just the
you
same
know?
way like that same motions guy dressed up John Legend in a kind of a tradition, the Umshanana
Exactly.
beat of it. There was a touch, there was a Rwandan touch in there.
Exactly.
Something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it was
think.
the same. Yeah. And I loved that. People would come to me and ask, what is this? Where can I get this? I was sharing his website left and right, you know, and people were like, I can get
Does he
that."
have an idea that you sold him out like that?
That much?
But it was, I mean, for me, it was about also standing out, right? It wasn't about fitting in. And in standing out, we're still having a lot of opportunities of wearing something that is just unique by finding local designers and wearing them.
Can I
So
pick your mind on something?
absolutely.
When Westerns, and this is not trying to be silly or anything, but when Westerns wear African design, there's always a perception of patronizing, or, you know, I want to fit in, I want to connect. How do you balance that from actual wearing it because it's authentic and because it's excellent,
Well,
versus wearing it because you want to show that maybe you went to Africa or you want to feel connected to the African continent and what I have an issue with that. I feel that sometimes Westerners want to put it on to patronize us, to make us feel that, hey, yeah, you know, we are all one, versus the ones that wear it, like the way she's talking about it is very different. It's a different perspective. Was there a time when, do you even understand the perspective I'm talking about? And was there a time when you were there, or have you always seen these as authentic? Why did you choose motion specifically?
Well, I chose motions because I loved the designs. I loved the feel of it. You know, those silky fabrics that he uses, and it had like this kind of ombre effect, and it was just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So that's why I wore it. I think you're kind of referring to some cultural appropriation. Yeah. So me personally, I don't feel like I've ever really been there. Not with Africa. I've definitely gone to India and come home with like pants with elephants on them, right? I mean, and then never worn them again because I'm like, this doesn't fit here,
Yeah,
right?
it's
They were
not.
really cute when I was in India, but like, now it feels, I mean, not really part of my style anymore. So probably in that sense I have. But I think because I haven't traveled Africa a lot before I actually moved here, and I was very quick to make connections here and make friends here and get their perspective of things before I even started buying anything, you know. So yeah, it's a difficult question to answer because I don't think people actually do it knowingly. I don't think that they're going to put on something and think, hey, I'm African today, you know. That's not where it comes from. I think most people, and I remember actually seeing when I was in Uganda, I saw that we were in a tourist shop, right, buying stuff. And there is this guy, American dad, who saw this shirt and he was like, I love this shirt. I really want to buy it, but I can't wear it because my daughter's going to call me out for cultural appropriation. And he just really wanted the shirt. And I'm like, just buy the shirt, man.
Yeah.
Just buy the shirt. And he was like, no, I can't do that. And it's difficult to know where are you overstepping boundaries? Where are you really appreciating something? Because I felt like he was really appreciating the shirt. He kept looking at it and he was like, this is such a nice shirt, you know? But then it's difficult to know the boundaries, especially when you're never really on the receiving end.
Yeah.
You know, and I think also just being Scandinavian, I never had anyone, you know, rule me out or exclude me or ostracize me or do anything degrading because of my skin. Right? I've never tried that. I've tried it when it comes to being a woman, so I can kind of relate to what the feeling is like, but I can never know, you know, what that is like. And I can never know when people come to Scandinavia to buy Scandinavian wear, it's never from a, hey, now I'm Scandinavian. It's like, oh, wow, I bought something Danish. Oh my God, I'm going to go home and show this to my whole family. So it's hard to say, honestly.
When African brands go global, how can they keep their cultural identity I think there's an element where you said that you loved motions, but then you started to see some changes in his designs. They were becoming more right.
Coming from Milan.
So yeah, I think what I experienced is that he went from being the kind of clothes that I would wear to being the kind of clothes that I probably would not, because the style just changed. And it's not that it became any less authentically him. You know, it's just that, oh, I would probably not wear this because I'm very classic in my style. You know, it's wearing something where it looks like there's, you know, the kind of Balenciaga and Ye, you know, Kanye did the same, right? So all of a sudden we need to have holes in our clothes and stuff like that. It's just not my style. It doesn't
and
mean
funny
that...
shoes that are facing the other way around.
Style, y'all, style.
No, there's a point.
Easy.
There's a point where he started to create skirts for men.
Yeah.
Because he was wearing them at some point.
Yes.
Skirt?
Yeah, they had like the, you know, the Scottish
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, it had that kind of vibe. I actually thought they were really cool.
For men?
Yeah. I thought they were really cool. But I don't think a lot of people would
Is
wear
that
them.
losing identity? Because, I mean, you'd expect him, an African boy, is creating trousers for us, traditional Africans who want to wear trousers. Not really skirts, because, I mean, who's going to wear skirts to go?
I mean, we have people in Rwanda. We have men in Rwanda wearing these skirts.
Are
these
they?
days.
No.
I mean, we saw one in the BK Arena the other day.
He was wearing a skirt?
It was just a skirt on top of a trouser and then a wrap on their head. You saw them. You saw the artist. And that's part of style these days. It's fashion.
Oh, interesting. I think I saw Chameleon too wear that when he came
He
here.
did the same thing.
I
I just don't like the whole idea. I'm sorry.
But I think it comes a lot with also experimenting. And to be fair, when you're starting to build a brand, it means that you can start pushing some boundaries and still get attention, and people are going to talk about it, right? It's great for branding, honestly. Because we're having this conversation because he did that, right? It's a way of creating a new story. And I really love what you mentioned. It reminded me of one of my favorite quotes when it comes to branding. Myron Golden, he says, a brand is a name that reminds you of a story. And a premium brand is a name that reminds you of a story that you want to be part of.
A high story.
Right? You really want to be part of that story. And it's very hard to create a story that people want to be part of if you're just average.
Plain, yeah.
If you're plain, if you're mediocre, then yes, you can still get people to buy your stuff, but you cannot charge those luxury prices, right? And when it comes to exclusivity, a big part of it is pricing. We need to be able to price something at a price where not everyone can be part of it, and that's just part of the game. I mean, it sounds, you know,
If you want to stay,
It's premium. It is what it should be.
If you want your brand to stay relevant, you've got to be a little bit different.
you have to.
You cannot be the same. You cannot. You have. I mean, Yeezy, whatever, created those Yeezy things, torn shirts, and big
torn
people
trousers.
and torn trousers, and people were wearing them.
And Balenciaga did the same.
Balenciaga did the same thing.
And it reminded me so much. Did you ever watch that movie Zoolander?
No.
Derek, okay, so it's a comedy about the fashion world. And one of the big designers in this movie, he creates a new collection and he wants one of these models to wear it. And it's literally inspired by homelessness, right? So they're really trying to make it look, you know, clothes with holes in them and using, you know, paper bags and everything. And when it came to like styling it. And back then, because this is an old movie, back then it was like, who would ever do that? And then 10 years, 15 years
now
later, we have
wearing
It's the
Balenciaga.
order of the
Wearing
day.
rugs, you know. You've heard of that rugs and tags,
Yeah.
like those designers, literally torn jeans from head to toe, and we're buying them expensive.
Yeah, the whole
So
Very
let me
expensively.
just try to get this clear. We see a shift by Motions to try to appeal to the international market, right? Rebecca, since you're the only one wearing Made in Rwanda today,
Imagine.
do you think, all right, changes are necessary to appeal to a bigger market? For instance, what does Lee Sham have to do? What kind of changes would he have to do to appeal to the international market?
So right now, Lee's mostly a tailor, meaning that people will come with an idea and then he helps them bring it to life. So he doesn't have like off the shelves items. And in order to become that kind of, to go from a tailor to being a designer, you're going to have some items that are off the shelves, right? That is, you know,
Your own
similar
creative,
to.
yes.
Yeah, and so you have these shops that are below Boho, right, on 14th Avenue.
Yeah.
The Ashantis and those kind of, they have, you know, you walk in and you can pick something up and you can bring it home the same day. Right now, Lee doesn't have that. He has, you come here, we take your measurements, we choose the fabrics, we create it, we do the fitting, and then it takes a while, you know. I think if you want to create a brand where people will buy stuff online, and Motions was actually doing this really well because he had an online shop. You could buy his stuff from all over the world. But in order to stay relevant, I think it's about picking up something that you absolutely love about the culture, right? Something that you love about the traditional look. And I love the draping as an example of that because it's so gorgeous, right? It just looks so, and the feeling of it, and it also brings this, you're thinking about, you know,
Royalty.
Weddings, and you know, there's this vibe of just
Festive.
wanting to. It's very, yeah.
Don't worry, we are attending a wedding very soon. All of us.
So it's giving, you know, it's giving this kind of. It's very clear that he had a lot of pride in what he created. Right? It really came from a place of, I want to showcase my culture in a way that I feel is aligned with what I believe is beautiful and what I believe the world will believe is beautiful. And I think it's just so gorgeous. All of the items he has where there's like draping effects, I'm absolutely loving it. And I think it's very different to saying, oh, but and when do you make something African, right? Is it just because it has like a kitenge detail? Because that honestly doesn't really scream necessarily authenticity to me.
Yeah.
You know, so what are you taking from the culture? What are you taking from the traditional designs that you can connect into a piece of clothing or an item that you wanna you know, sell to the world? So I think it absolutely is possible to stay authentic, to stay with this African vibe to it, depending on how you do it. If you're doing it only to be African, I think you're missing some sort of integrity in your design. I think it has to come from a love for the culture, and it has to come from a love for the clothing that you're creating. And I think it's absolutely possible. I mean, even with, we were talking about the jersey of House of Tayo before, right? Where it did have this imigongo kind of vibes to it, and it still felt like a really, really nice jersey, and people loved it, you know? Absolutely loved it. Both Rwandans did, but also people globally. I haven't seen the new jersey that you're talking about, so I can't really speak to it.
Well, I'd like us to come to a conclusion. The other day we were having this conversation on African brands that are creating underwear, really. Underwear.
Say that again.
Like boxers.
Okay.
Undergarments. Okay.
Undergarments.
Undergarment.
Yeah, undergarments.
Listen, is it about quality or is it about marketing, really? Some of these brands, Gucci, I understand that they go pick stuff from China and then just put the logo. Is it about the quality or is it about marketing? Could we be buying something so expensively only because of the logo, but then the quality is missing in there?
I think the first thing is perception. And pricing is psychological at a very extensive level. If you price a shirt for me at 50,000 versus at 150,000, in my head, I already know the better one, even if it's not better, right? So when you fix prices, you think about the psychological element of it. If a phone has an Apple frame on it versus a phone with no name, for example, I already know that, okay, the Apple one, because Apple has lived a story and that story has been bought, so just putting the logo on it means something. You see what I mean? So sometimes, right, you can only do that after you have established authenticity. You can only do that after, it's like, think about an artist, right? A musician, right? When they are starting, they're very intentional about the songs, the lyrics, the whatnot. And then when they make the hit, they can't sing anything. Yeah, yo, yeah, yeah, yo, yeah, we'll all jump.
Awa, awa, wa, wa, wa. That's what someone's song. Iniwa.
And at that point, you're no longer questioning their authenticity. You're no longer questioning, is this song really global level? Is it supposed to be sung, on a platform? I think Burna Boy made it to, was it Burna Boy or?
Yeah, Burna to the Grammys.
Yeah. And Black Panther had one of the Afrobeat songs in it. So at that point, anything he sings now will be celebrated because he has already built the platform. He's already built the perception. He already has a space in the parking space, or he has already taken a space in the parking space of the customer's mind. So to remove him from that parking lot,
even when he produces nonsensical,
it's going to take a long
gonna take
time,
years.
right? So yes, it is quality, and yes, it is what's the other thing you said? Marketing, but the quality precedes it. The quality comes first, because it's not you are not just going to market and be there. I'm not going to just write something like, FE. And then, Rebecca is like, well, let me try FE. Festus Emmanuel, right? Because, I would have to have told a story. I would have to have built authenticity. I would have to have made it exclusive. And people would have experienced it, like she's saying, the fabric, the style, the story. It's not just about, okay, let me build something and put a kitenge and say it's African, right? Everyone is doing that. That's why in business we say unique value proposition, right? What sets you apart? What makes you unique? What makes you special? Everybody that wants to build an African brand puts something African on it. But beyond the African item, do you have a story that you're telling? Do you have something more than just saying, hey, this suit has an African color?
I should put one.
It has an African color, so
put some
it's African.
kitenge?
No, it doesn't. It does not make it African, right? So I would say there is a point where it's the effort is minimal.
And can I just also add to, when we're talking about entrepreneurship, it also has to be, do you have a viable business? Right, because just because something is a luxury doesn't make it a good business. And I think sometimes we want to go and sell to people who have a lot of money, but you don't really fully understand what kind of competition you're sitting with there. It's going to take a lot more work to get started. It's going to take a lot more work to do the branding, to tell the story. Like you're mentioning all of this, right? It takes time. Yeah. And even then, there's no guarantee. Whereas maybe if you look at someone like Michael Kors, he's kind of considered a higher level, maybe, brand. I mean, not something like Gucci, but also not something like H&M or Zara, right?
His target market is totally different.
His target market is so different. And a lot of people in the world can afford Michael Kors. And a lot of people, he still managed to do it in a way that people still want to wear his brand. At some point, if you have a brand that's kind of washed out, people don't want to wear it anymore. Like you have to not put your name on it, right? But he's managed to create this business where he just sells a lot, and the quality is okay. It's not the best, and we see a lot of these very high-end brands creating a sidelined brand, so you have Dolce and Gabbana and D&G are two different brands. Because D&G is the cheaper version where more people can afford to buy it. But if you get the full name, Dolce & Gabbana, it's more expensive.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Valentino has
it's like
also different lines.
Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just
Valentino has their regular line of stuff. The bag is $2,000, but then they also have a separate line of bags which are like $200. So you see a lot of these high-end brands, they're trying to cater to the mass market because the business just wasn't there for them to only focus on the high end. But then you also have someone like, Mercedes created the Maybach, right? Because they wanted to cater to the people that wanted something like a Rolls Royce, and like they didn't have anything to match that. So they created a whole new brand in order to do that. So figure out, where do you really want to establish yourself? And then you can start thinking about, where do I want to pivot into in the long run? But starting out just saying, I want to create a super high level brand, it's going to be a really bad business in the beginning. You're going to need a lot of investment. You're going to need a lot of time, and there's still no guarantee. So you might want to consider, what kind of business do I want to create? Do I want to create a business where it's accessible to people? Especially because, as I said earlier, the purchasing power in Rwanda is still not the same as in Paris, right? People in Paris, and I really like that you never asked me that question, by the way. But we need to think about, who are we selling to? And if we want to start by selling to people who are here and really establish ourselves here, we might want to consider, what do I want to call luxury? Where can I have integrity in what I'm selling, both in terms of the quality, in terms of the brand, in terms of the time that's being put into it, and then also do it in a way that's more. And I think Motions did that really well. I mean, there are a lot of people who could afford spending a couple of 100,000 francs on, or 500K or something, right? On a shirt or a dress or something like that. You have that. But if he had started out by saying this shirt is $5,000,
Yeah, 2M.
I don't think a lot of people would have never even had the opportunity to really kick off, because people would be like, that's just insane. What's in it? Gold? Did you put gold in it? So it's really
That's
about
a
figuring
very
out
African question to ask.
you know.
So why does a Rolex cost that much?
where are the diamonds.
Does it come with diamonds?
Exactly. So, but it's really about figuring out, what do you want the business to be, and how can you do it in a way that's liable?
Rebecca and Festa, thank you so much for always making the time Tuesdays to be here to bring us these insights on living entrepreneurship. I appreciate it. The time is 16 minutes after 9 o'clock in the morning.